And joining me now via Skype, Chris Spatola, former point guard at Army, but now he has crossed over to the dark side. He now does TV, discussing basketball just like the rest of us. Of course, you've also spent plenty of time in the Duke huddle as well. Chris, thanks for joining us. So you have some insight for sure on the Duke picks. Let's start with Jabari Parker at number 2. And I think the general feeling is Milwaukee's just a great fit.
Yeah, and I think it's where he wanted to go. So a lot of stuff coming out of him and out of his camp was he's a Chicago kid, born and bred. His parents are still in Chicago, so a chance for them to see him play. And, he's a humble kid too. I think all along for him, I think he genuinely didn't really care whether it was 1 or 2. I always felt like he was the best player in the draft, but I think he landed in the right spot, no question.
Let's break down Jabari's game for a second. I think the comparison we hear a lot, and the guys talked about it tonight here on the show, is Melo. Do you see Carmelo when you watch Jabari Parker?
Yeah, I see it a lot. And I actually think he's better. He's a better athlete than Carmelo. I think as Carmelo has aged, his second jump ability and his athleticism is not quite as good. I don't think Jabari's as physical as Carmelo is. But what I will say is Jabari scores at all 3 levels. They posted him up. He can shoot it with range, and then he can play in that mid-range. He puts it on the floor. He's a terrific defensive rebounder, Jeff. I mean, his numbers this year on the glass were really good. I just think his all-around game. And then everybody wants to talk about the defense, but those deficiencies, especially for a guy who's only really been coached on the defensive end for a year, I think he can become a more willing participant on that end.
Then we saw Rodney Hood go to the Utah Jazz, maybe a little lower than anybody expected, but there's a young nucleus there that seems like it could be a good fit for Rodney.
Yeah, the way the league is going, I mean, we watched the Spurs and how they played with the spacing, and you need shooters in order to create that space, and that's what he's going to do. Again, he's a high-character guy, which I think that organization values. You put him with some other young pieces, and again, a guy who can space, be a corner 3 guy, and he's a good athlete. I mean, we saw him this year make some athletic plays at the rim, so he'll give him that as well.
Now, Napier was traded for P.J. Hairston. We know the long, strange route he's taken to the NBA over the last year. Where do you see him fitting in now? He's basically been brought back to Charlotte, brought back home, staying in Carolina country. Do you think with Michael Jordan peering over his shoulder, do you think that ends up being a good fit for P.J.?
I think it is. Yeah, I really do. The best thing that P.J. did when the decision that he wasn't going to be able to play at Carolina, when that came down, the best thing he did was go to the D-League. And he put up great numbers there. And it's one of the reasons he was a first-round pick. And I think that team, when you look at how that lineup now unfolds, I think he's a great piece. He's an outside shooter. He's got good size, and he was a really good rebounder. One of the things he really gave teams fits with is his ability to rebound from the perimeter. So I think it's a good fit. And again, it's not like after he left Carolina, wasn't doing anything. He put up really good numbers in the D-League.
Coming soon on the ACC Digital Network, the 2014 college football season. Follow the ACCDN for comprehensive coverage of the national champs and every ACC school. College football the way you want it. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.